video on a Mac and select rename. On a PC, right-click on your own video and select rename. Rename yourself to be just your first name, just your last name, how you would like to be addressed in this session. And here's a bonus for you. I forget about this all the time, and I was reminded this week, so I will share. You can change the size of the chat. I know it is, you don't have to squint to see it. If you click on the up caret next to either the microphone or the stop video and go into the audio settings or the video settings, at the very bottom of that menu on the left-hand side is accessibility. What does that mean? These are features to enhance the experience that you can take advantage of. One of the options, you can change what the closed captioning size is. Below that, in the middle of the screen, you should see chat display size. Mine is by default 200%, because once you set it and forget it, you sort of just forget it. And because I was reminded this week that increasing the chat font size can be an aid, I'm sharing that information with you. Brenda.
Christopher, I just feel like we got a little mini masterclass in Zoom. That was amazing. So many gems dropped right in there. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a delight to have you. I'm not sure if you're going to be with us for the entire call, Christopher, so I would like to give you the opportunity. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and who you help? And if folks are interested in referring business to you, where can they go?
Well, thank you very much. So, Christopher Johnson, the name of my company is Calm Clear Communications. And what I do is similar to what I just did. I help speakers, trainers, authors have more engaging, easy to use virtual events. How do I do that? I take care of the tech headache so they can focus on delivering the content. How you can get in touch with me. Reach out and connect on LinkedIn with a personal note. If you have an idea for a entity that could use my services, again, speakers, trainers, authors, to produce virtual events such as meetings, webinars, or conferences, drop me a note.
Awesome. Thank you, Christopher. Always a delight. Christopher and I met through an organization years ago called Toastmasters. If you're not familiar with Toastmasters, it's an amazing group of individuals that work on public speaking together. And I think we actually met, if I'm not mistaken, at a competition. I think Christopher was one of the judges running the event. I was competing. I don't think I did that well. I don't know. But it was a good learning experience overall. And we crossed paths and we've stayed in contact. By the way, if you are struggling with self-confidence, if you struggle with interviewing questions, if you're impressed by Christopher's command and control as a speaker or my command and control as a speaker, part of that is due to our experience in Toastmasters. I highly recommend it. It's a very low price point for membership. By the way, this message is not sponsored or endorsed by Toastmasters. It's just coming from someone who personally benefited from Toastmasters as an experience. If you're a Toastmaster, go into chat and type in Toastmaster right now. You can probably speak to the benefits for yourself firsthand. I believe the organization's website is toastmasters.org. If someone wants to double check me on that and drop it in, that would be wonderful. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started with our session here today. So let me stop the screen share here. I'm going to pull us up to speaker mode. And as we are getting started this morning, I want to first of all say good morning and welcome to all of you. My name is Brenda Meller. I'm your host for this fabulous thing we do every Friday. I call this VIP Job Seeker Office Hours. And I want to welcome all of you who are in career transition into our community. You may not want to be here, and I get it. You want to be back to work, and that's our goal for you too. Our goal is to not see you on the Friday calls. Our goal is to get you out of the calls and get you back to work. But in the meantime, we have provided a place that you can come to every Friday. My goal is by the end of the phone call, you'll leave with some new insights that are going to help you in your job search. You're going to leave with hopefully some inspiration, right? A little more a spring in your step. And hopefully we'll have made you smile. We'll have made you laugh during the phone call, and you'll have built some new connections as well. On that note, we're going to start with something new I've tried doing. I want you to drop introductions of yourself into chat. And I'm going to remind you what we are looking for. This should really be a brief introduction, not your life story. And it shouldn't be a whole 3-paragraph description. You want to be brief and succinct. The less that you write, the more likely everyone's going to read the whole thing. Okay. So what I'm looking for is tell us your targeted job title, targeted geographic area, and then please drop in your LinkedIn URL. Make sure that if you're inside Zoom, you're dropping it with the HTTPS, because then it's blue and it's clickable and people can visit your profile during the call. They can invite you to connect. By the way, if you're not one of those multitasking people, you can download the chat and you can go back and visit profiles later. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this opportunity for the next 5 minutes for anybody who is a job seeker in career transition who wants to introduce themselves. If you would like to introduce yourself, I want you to use the raise hand feature. So in your Zoom reactions at the bottom, if you click on the little smiley face reaction guy, there's a raise hand. I want you to click on raise hand. I'm going to call on you, and then you will have about 15 to 20 seconds to introduce yourself. You're going to tell us your name, your targeted job title, and your targeted geographic area, and make sure you have put your introduction into the chat. All right, so first up, we have Al Nunez, followed by Julia. Good morning, Al. How are you today?
Morning, doing well, thank you. I am a higher education matchmaker looking to recruit students for the right college and university. So I'm looking for a position as a director or vice president at a college or a community college here in the Phoenix area. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Al, and glad to see you on the call with us here today. Next up is Julia. And don't be shy, guys. Raise your hand and I'll bring you up after Julia. Go ahead, Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia Bonham in the New York City metropolitan area, looking to stay here or be remote. A little bit of hybrid's okay. I'm looking for a chief of staff or a full-time executive recruiter role. Prefer the chief of staff role. I'm open as to industry. My previous experience was in private family office.
Good to know. And Julia, if we ever have questions from individuals about how do we get in contact with recruiters or tips for working with recruiters, I would love to hear you piping up and offering your advice if you wouldn't mind. Oh, I think she might have frozen up. All right, let's keep us moving along here. Next, we have Brett, followed by John. Good morning, Brett. How are you?
Good morning. Hi, I'm Brett Koretsky. My most recent position was Director of Value-Based Care IT and Analytics. So I'm looking for a healthcare IT analytics director, senior director role. I've been in the space for a really long time and looking for something new.
All right. So remind me again, Brett, I wasn't sure if I got that. Targeted job title and targeted geographic area.
Oh, I'm sorry. Targeted job title is Director of IT Analytics of some sort. Targeted area is Detroit, Michigan, but I'm very open to remote work.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett. All right. John is next, and then followed by Neil and Jan. Go ahead, John.
Good morning, everybody. I'm John Trumbull. I'm looking for my next role as either a corporate controller or chief accounting officer in either the New York City area or New Jersey. And again, my name is John Trumbull.
Thank you, John. All right. Next up, is it Neil or is it Jan, or do you go by both names? Oh, you are muted, sir. If you wouldn't mind trying to unmute. And while you're doing so, I want to remind everyone, this is your opportunity to introduce yourself to fellow job seekers. And I want you to treat this almost as practice for what you're going to do on other calls. This is a safe zone to try this in. I know, like, I'm an introvert at heart. So when people say introduce yourself, my heart starts racing and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to talk in front of people. I don't want you to be nervous. I want you to raise your hand and give yourself some practice doing that. So let's try it again. Neil or Jan, can you?
No, it's Neil.
There you go. All right, go ahead, sir.
All righty. I'm looking for a position as a customer success manager, either remote.
Looks like you went out. I heard customer success manager, either remote, and then I started trying to lip read and I did it very badly. Nope, we can see your lips moving. I wish I had my little Adele sign. It says your lips are moving, but we can't hear you, unfortunately. I'm not sure if the earbuds or the battery might be in and out on that, but if you don't mind, go into chat and then we'll try to have you just put the rest of your introduction. I'm going to keep us moving along here.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I have
all right.
Information. I also put that into the chat.
Oh, wonderful.
The geographic location is San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, Perfect. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, Neil. All right. And Emily is up next. Emily, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. My name is Emily Stewie like the Family Guy. Yes. I work in human resources. I've been working in human resources for the past 12 years. And I'm looking for either a senior individual contributor position or a manager director role in human resources. The locations that I'm looking for is either the Detroit metropolitan area or Knoxville, Tennessee, as well as remote positions. And if you're interested in reaching out to me, please do. My LinkedIn is in the chat.
Wonderful. Thank you, Emily. Stuart Belden, how are you doing today, sir?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Brenda. You know what? What's better than Stuart following Emily Stewie? That's pretty fantastic. You must have just lined that right up like a baseball bat. Anyway, my name is Stuart Belden. I'm in Tampa, Florida. I am pivoting out of a very successful medical device field up in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, I couldn't get any further from Portland, Oregon to Tampa. I am looking to pivot into the nautical marine services or something along the lines of boats, which is a very passion of mine for 35 years. So that's it. I'm still open to medical, but trying to pivot, and that's it. So nice to meet you.
Is it in the sales side that you're looking to move into, nautical and boats and things like that?
Correct.
Okay. I remember.
Yeah. So whether it's service, whether it's, I don't want to get into the sales of yachts because that's a whole different animal down here. But maybe servicing the marine industry in some form or fashion.
Well, good. Well, good to see you, Stuart. And we
Thank
wish
you,
you the best
Brenda.
of luck. Thank you. All right, guys, I just want to say good morning and welcome to all of you. I want to see who else is on the call. This gives me a chance to kind of look and see who of the all-stars is with us. By the way, while I go through this next section, if you are an all-star, could you use the raise hand feature right now? Because you're going to introduce yourselves next. So good morning and welcome to Emily, Stuart, Kenneth. Sue is here with us. Let me make you a co-host, Sue. Joey, Diana, Julia is my intern. Linda is with us. Al, Alicia, Andrew, Angela L, and Angela W, Bill, Brett, Christopher. Let me make you a co-host too, Christopher. Here we go. Christopher Johnson, Christopher Dixon, Dan B, Sarah, David, Debbie, Don, Emily G, Emily S, Esmeralda, Fiona, Jeff. Joan ×2 is with us here today. I'm going to make you a co-host because I'm gonna have the folks that are on my LinkedIn Live-a-thon that's coming up next week introduce themselves too. And there's a few of the all-stars, and then Joan is in that lineup as well. John Trumbull, good morning, Jonathan, Julia, Katie, Kevin, nice to see you again, sir. Kaiser, Laura, Lisa, Melissa, Natasha, Neil and Jan. One says owner, Randy, Rob, Scott B, Scott V, Simeon, Susan, Tamara, Tina, Twana, VF, Wendy, and Vic. And there may be others joining the call as well, but I always like to do that because it allows me to see who's on. I want you to know that we noticed you. And I feel like it's so important because when you are in career transition, it can be very isolating. You can be at home by yourself. You're not part of a team anymore. And like when you're part of a team and when you're part of an employer, people check in on you, right? Like, where's Brenda? She didn't come in today. So somebody like check and see what happened to her. And when you work for yourself at home, you don't have that same type of support system. You do have your family and friends, but how long would they go without hearing from you, without like wondering, are you okay? Like what happened to her, right? So I like to say your names on the Friday call. And by the way, when I'm going through this, if there's someone that you've had some rapport with in the past that we haven't seen in a while on these Friday calls, do me a favor, reach out to them. Like go look them up on LinkedIn, maybe send them a message and say, hey, Sue, haven't seen you on the Friday calls, wanted to check in and see how you and the job search are going along. Like let them know you exist, you are important. And I noticed that you weren't there. Like, let them know that. I think that's really important. We're going to start to do some questions and success stories in just a few moments. So if you have a question, I want you to go into chat right now and I want you to type in the word question like I am doing. And I'm just going to do an example question. I'm going to say, do you have a dog? Because I have a dog. Her name's Pepper. She's sitting outside my office right now. This is just an example. So type in the word question in all caps, followed by your question. It could be a question related to getting your efforts ramped up for a job search, questions about interviewing, questions about your resume, questions about using LinkedIn for your job search. Question could be, can you take a look at my profile and give me some pointers? And we've got a couple of LinkedIn experts that are on the call here that can do that for you. So type in the word question, followed by the question. If we can't get to you, others will be able to respond to you in chat and in chat rather. If you have a success story, I want you just to type in the word success in chat, SUCCESS. We'll call on you and we'll ask you to tell us about your success. Your success might be, I got an interview and a job offer, I'm leaving the group. Right? It could be recruiters are starting to notice me on LinkedIn. It could be I'm starting to get more traction in my job search. I'm starting to get callbacks and things like that. It could be I found a career coach to work with, or I had a great LinkedIn coaching call with Brenda Meller this week. Wink, wink, for those of you who did that this past week. Or it could be, hey, I was in the boot camp with Brenda program and things are starting to finally happen for me. You can tell us about that as well. Plug for my program there. So whatever successes you deem to be, just put the word success, click on raise hand, and we will call on you. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask my all-stars to please introduce themselves in this order. All right, let's see if I can get this right. So Kenneth will go first, followed by Sue. Remember your order because I'm only going to do this once. Kenneth, followed by Sue, followed by Joey, followed by Linda, followed by Diana. I think I've got all of you in the right order. All right, go ahead, Kenneth. The floor is yours, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Kenneth Lang here from Wayne, New Jersey, Northern New Jersey. It is great to see everyone take this first step with networking and job search and the like. Big shout out to Brenda Meller for putting this group together, for putting together the LinkedIn Lives and the event next week. I had the pleasure this week of meeting Joey Himmelfarb in person, another one of our fellow Wolf Stars, and I think pom-poms to that. And I want to, as a fellow introvert, and this is really out of my comfort zone, but I want to make this offer to everyone who's in the New York, New Jersey area. If you're in Northern New Jersey, just drop me a line. I'd love to meet you in person. I'd love to get to know you. That is something that was really missing pre-pandemic, the opportunity to have a cup of coffee, whether it's Panera, Starbucks, Fine Grind in town, wherever it is. Just let me know if you're in the area. I'd love to have a chat. That's where I've gotten some of my best conversations. That goes out to anyone here. Kenneth Lang, have a great day. On to Sue Griffey.
Thanks, Kenneth. And even if you don't live in Northern New Jersey, if you're driving through like I was, you can meet Kenneth. I'm the mentor with Pom Pom, so I will celebrate our big wins, our small wins, and anything in between. I work with a global practice for mentoring of professionals in transition. And I just want to encourage you all, come to the LinkedIn Live next week. I'm going to show you that your past performance is a predictor of your future success. And I have a formula to show you how to write and excavating your evidence, thanks to Christopher. All right, passing it on to Joey.
Thank you, Sue. Appreciate that. Good morning, all. So I'm Joey Himmelfarb. My mission is to have job seekers see the positive portions of their job search wherever they are on their journey. I am a true blue New Yorker, born and raised. So I'm a little in your face, and I apologize for that up front, but I do my best to try to bring you back from the dark side if I hear you talking negatively about yourself or the market or anything else that you can't control. I will listen in and remain pretty quiet unless I need to speak up, but I'm happy to be here. And if you do happen to go see Ken, bring a stepladder, because he says he's tall, but he's taller than he says. Up to you, Linda.
Thanks, Joey. I love following you with that positive attitude. I'm Linda Brubaker, and I'm a job search coach. And I'm an ex-recruiter, ex-headhunter, ex-hiring manager. And what I do is that I bring all of that experience to help you through your job search journey. What I do is that I work with job seekers in any stage of their job search, helping them to discover and highlight those transferable skills to help you get that next forever job. I'm also going to be a speaker at the LinkedIn Live-a-thon next week, and my topic is going to be the terrible twos of job search. Too old, too experienced, too expensive. Hope to see you there.
Hi, I'm Diana Stevens. I'm located in the Chicagoland area, and I have a company called Mindful Job Alignment. And what I help people in transition do is to embrace the present and transition into your future. I'm delighted to be on the LinkedIn Live-a-thon next Thursday, where I will be speaking on stress relief techniques for job search. I have a plan of both addressing the internal, the soulful side of job search, as well as the external, the tactical side of job search. I've put my LinkedIn information into the chat, so please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and connect. And I look forward to meeting all of you. Thanks. Back to you, Brenda.
Let me get this going here. It's funny that you said back to me because I'm like, I can't remember where I told them to keep track and I didn't even keep track as we were going around. I was like, where are we on this wheel, right? Before we go into some questions and whatnot, let's see. Co-host asked you to start your video. My video's not on. I'm sorry about that. Whoever did that, thank you for telling me to get my video going. We look out for each other, right? A good friend will always tell you if you have spinach in your teeth, and a good friend will always tell you when your video is off when you start talking on your Zoom call. So I want to just share with you again, this is the LinkedIn Live-a-thon event that we've been talking about. It's a free event that we're putting together for individuals that are in career transition, specifically focusing on those of you who are experience rich. And I'm calling that age 40 plus, age 50 plus, age 60 plus. So anyone can come. It doesn't matter what your age. We're not going to card you at the door and say you're not old enough to come in, right? But we're really trying to target the topics towards individuals who are experience rich. We've got an amazing speaker lineup, and I'm at the point now where I'm starting to turn away speakers because I'm like, I've got as many as we can fit in. There's a limit to when you do a live stream, you can only have 4 hours, and I'm trying to do 30-minute segments. So I actually realized when Joan was messaging me yesterday that I booked 2 people for the same time. So I've got to move some things around right now, but the lineup of speakers is locked in, and I just want to remind you of their topics. So we're going to start at 11 a.m. promptly. I'll probably start the live stream just a few minutes before, but Kenneth Lang will be our first speaker talking about networking on LinkedIn from one introvert to another, followed by Joey Himmelfarb, selling yourself as an experience-rich job seeker. And then we'll go with Sue. Your past performance is a predictor of your future success, as she mentioned. Love that topic. Renee Lindo was introduced to me by way of, I think it was Annette Richmond, if I'm not mistaken. And she's a specialist in image and attire. And she's going to talk about looking current, feeling confident, and getting hired. Then we have Linda Brubaker. Love the terrible twos. I thought that was such a clever topic for the group. And then we'll be having stress relief tips for job search by Diana Stevens. I think we're going to try to then slide in, I'm blanking on your name right now, Joan. I'm going to try to slide in Joan at 2:00 and then move myself to the final wrap-up comments, 2:30 to 3. I may need to move people around a little bit based on availability, but that's kind of the lineup as it is right now. And I'll just let you know, if you do go to the event page, in your view, the blue button, I believe, says attend, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what it says? Does it say attend when you go there? Does anyone know? I think it says attend, or maybe it says RSVP. At any rate, click on the blue button and then you can add it to your calendar. You can watch the live stream from 11 to 3. If you say, Brenda, I've got interviews and stuff going on, I can't make it that day, still register on the event page. And then during the event, I'm going to drop into comments a page where you can register to get access to the playback. And I'll segment out each of the 30-minute talks. So if there's a specific topic, you don't have to watch the full 4 hours. You can just look at the specific topic. I'm also asking my speakers to bring with them special offers or reminders of services that they do working with job seekers. So you definitely want to register to get the access to those playbacks. And I will be promoting that throughout the event. And again, this is next Thursday, May 25th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn. Worst case scenario, if you can't find the link, just go to my profile that day and the broadcast will be in the top header card. You'll be easily able to find it within there. All right. So that covers off the big event that's coming up for next week. I'm super excited about that topic. By the way, feel free to invite as many people as you'd like. Once you RSVP, you'll get the option to share that event link with others and spread the word. This event, this is something I used to do during the pandemic. I think I did it once or twice a year, and I didn't do it last year. I'm bringing it back. We usually bring between 200 to 300 people throughout the day-long event. And I think this is really a great way of helping people that are in career transition, and also showcasing these amazing all-stars that we've got on the call, because you only hear a little bit from them. And I love the fact that we can shine the spotlight on them and gain some great expertise from them as well. So be sure to check out that event. All right, so let's move into now questions and success stories. And I'm going to remind all of you as well, if you do have a question, type in the word question in chat and then use the raise hand function. So if you go to the little reactions bar at the bottom, click on raise hand. And that way it helps me to kind of find you, and also I'll call on you for the question. So I see right now we've got Julia followed by David. So Julia, did you have a question or a success story for us?
Well, both. Can I do both real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
So using your technique, I wanted to report that I got 2 interviews set up the day before yesterday for next week. One was the direct outreach to recruiters in my industry and for my function via a LinkedIn connection request, waiting for the ping back, and then saying, actually, I'm looking for this, and if you have anything in queue. So I got almost uniformly answered by the 10 to 15 recruiters that I did that to. Then I go out and I email them from getting their email. And one of them said he had something. One of them referred me to somebody else in her firm. And the gentleman that she referred me to, because he was my specialty, chief of staff, got me set up with an interview with one of his clients. It was a video, pre-recorded, questions or whatever, but he's passing me along to the principal of his client firm, which is great. So thank you for that. And the other one is just like direct outreach to an employer who had posted a position and saying, maybe that wasn't you, but anyway, I got 2 interviews, so I'm happy, from LinkedIn. My question is, and people say they really like that approach. My question is, without doing that, I am not getting hits from recruiters. I'm open to work for the recruiters only. No, I don't have the big green yoke, as somebody called it. I like that.
The yoke. I call it a scarf, but the yoke is kind of like an equivalent of it too.
The yoke. I don't. I'm revamping my profile. I have my keywords, but I'm just not, I'm probably not all the way there yet. And you can take a look at it if you want. But I probably got a lot to do.
So is your question, why aren't recruiters finding me, even though I have open to work on in the background?
Yeah, and keywords. I mean, I get it. I know it's not just about having that tag, but I have my chief of staff, my executive recruiter, family office management. I haven't done my keywords as much as I want to throughout my profile. I did my top skills. I did my core competencies. I did a lot of that today. So let's give it a moment, but
let's let it run, right?
Yeah,
let it
but I'm not.
there.
Let's give it a minute. But I'm getting absolutely no. I've never gotten a hit from a recruiter for a chief of staff role.
Okay, can I ask a question, Julia?
Yeah.
Have you done a search for chief of staff jobs in New York Metro on LinkedIn? And if so, are there jobs coming up?
Oh yeah.
That are okay,
Tons.
good. Because I was like sometimes I like to take a step back, and I'm just going to use an example. Years ago, I worked with a woman who worked in radio sales, and for like 20 years, she worked in radio sales, and she's like, and I'm experienced as a radio salesperson, and I need a senior radio. And I'm like, are there jobs? Like, it was at the time, like everything was shifting to satellite, and like there weren't as many jobs. And it's like sometimes we get our blinders on us. So I always like to is there a market out there for it? Okay, great. So now you've just said you just made some changes to your LinkedIn profile. Let's give it some time to let that run. I think that's an important point. But also I would say part of your success as a job seeker is not like just, are they finding you, but are you finding them? Like, are you going out and like you said, you're doing the outreach to the recruiters and the hiring managers and things like that. So being an active participant in the job search process, not, and I don't want to say like a passive participant, because I know it's a lot of work applying for jobs and things like that. But when you apply to jobs, it's the black hole of job search. By the way, I hate the black hole. If you hate the black hole, go in chat and say, hey, I hate the black hole. But it's like you're kind of at their mercy, and there's hundreds and thousands of people competing for jobs. So we give ourselves an advantage if, in addition to applying through the job boards, we also look up the company on LinkedIn, follow the company, find employees who work at the company through the company page, invite multiple of them to connect with you. That increases the chances that more people will accept your invitation. In the invitation, don't tell them that you applied for the job. In the invitation, these are the things we have in common. LinkedIn said we have several common connections, including Lucretia Cavan. We're both in Metro Detroit. Or in your case, New York Metro. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Step 2, I see that you're hiring for a chief of staff at XYZ company. I'm wondering if you have any insight into the hiring process. So start to warm up those connections a little bit inside there. In terms of your profile, I mean, the one thing I would say just as a change is at the top of your profile, instead of the clouds, like, can you put chief of staff in there, or New York City skyline with the words chief of staff or something on there. So use that not as a piece of artwork that you like to look at, but use that to help to remind people what you're looking for. And I've heard some people say, well, blue sky is like blue sky thinking as leaders and managers and things like, I'm like, yeah, but it could just be a blue sky with clouds too.
Okay.
So that's one thing I would see.
Yeah. I'm not wedded to it. I could do that.
Yeah. So give that a try. And especially if you're looking for a job in the New York City metro area, maybe a New York City skyline with the words chief of staff, or maybe even an adjective in front of it. Inspirational chief of staff, or something that helps to diversify you from all the other chiefs of staffs out there. What's your personality in there? I want to see if Kenneth Lang, who's also a fellow LinkedIn coach who helps work with job seekers. Kenneth, is there anything that's jumping at you on Julia's profile?
I was actually looking at it on the side too. I think part of it is not just the title, but what does a chief of staff actually do? And I was actually looking it up. I mean, you could almost portray yourself as a project manager doing something else. Besides that, because I think chief of staff has a certain connotation, at least it does for me. So I think you may have to think a little bit about what are the responsibilities and how those get portrayed in a different job. Or different job title, because everything is job titles are job titles, but the skills may be the same across different job titles. So that would be one of my thoughts.
Yeah, well, it is a murky area. I don't want to take up a lot of everybody's time. It is a murky area, and it means different things to different people. I do want to stay kind of message focused on this particular title, although I would be flexible to.
So let's connect sometime offline.
Yeah.
Are you in New York City, or where exactly are you?
Yeah, I'm in the city.
All right, so let's connect sometime offline by call or something else.
Yeah. Okay. Feel free to reach out to me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, congratulations too. And by the way, the techniques that we were talking about in terms of finding and connecting with recruiters, that I believe that was last week's phone call that we covered, right, Julie? So I want to remind everyone, this call today is recorded. It's on YouTube. I'm going to ask Julia, my intern, to drop the link for today's call. And then Julia, could you please also put the full playlist? So if someone on the call is going like, what are they talking about? How did she do that? Rather than repeat it again today, just go back to last week's call and you can watch the playback in there for that. All right. Thank you so much, Julia. I believe David Mills, you are next, and then we'll go to Melissa and to Randy. I think that was the right order, if I'm not mistaken. David, did you have a success story or a question for us today? David, you are muted if you don't mind unmuting, sir.
Notice that. Thank you.
There you go.
A very quick success story that Brenda and I had my free coaching session with her this past Monday for winning the raffle last week. And she has an amazing knowledge of LinkedIn, better than anybody else I know, and answered questions I never even thought to ask. So thank you so much for the time that you gave me. Regarding my question, we're always talking about the older people, 55 plus, as being experienced.
I didn't say older. I said experience rich, David.
Okay,
I don't use the word
rich,
older.
but you equate the two. But what if you're 55 plus, like I'm 60, but you aren't experienced rich? Like, for instance, I graduated back in the 90s with my degrees in biology and environmental studies, never got a job in the field, and finally I'm looking for a data analysis / market research.
Mhm.
And I've taken coursework, to get myself the skills in the field, but I don't have any work experience in those fields.
Great question. All right, I'm going to ask our all-stars. Let's help David out here. What if you are experience rich by age, but not feeling experience rich in the field that you wish to move into? So you're looking to make a career pivot. So I'm going to ask my all-stars to please raise your hand if you have any advice for David. David, I'm going to start you off by saying, I want you to think about doing a little bit of brainstorming for yourself. So I want you to write on a list of paper. Maybe you have the left column is your past experiences. And I want you to list out all of the skills that you have gained from your past experiences. In the right-hand side column, I want you to write data analyst. And as you are applying for jobs, I want you to list out the skills that are required for a data analyst. Okay. Some of those skills you're going to have, and some of those you're not going to have. But then what I want you to do is do a comparison. What appears on the left side and the right side? There will be some transferable skills in there. You do have experience that can apply into a data analyst role. So I want, I think this brainstorming can help you to start to see some of the things that are happening. There are going to be more ideas coming from our all-stars. So I'm going to shift gears from me and go to Joey next, followed by Linda. Joey, what advice do you have for David?
Well, you stole my thunder, Brenda. That's exactly what I was going to say, at least at a place to start, right? The other thing I would do, and I always harp on this, and it's, David, you have at your fingertips an amazing network, I'm sure. And they need to know what you're thinking of doing. And they can help you. You'd be surprised what nuggets are lying in waiting, I should say. But people don't know because they just don't know. Everybody's busy, but you need to sell yourself on what you're trying to accomplish. Before you do that, you do what Brenda suggests, or you do that inventory, if you will. And it's a place to start, but you got to start somewhere. And you just, you nibble away and you nibble away. And before you know it, a year from now, you'll be like, whoa, look where I landed, right? So, but don't neglect your network.
All right, Linda. Oh, go ahead.
I'm actually going to build on that whole idea of transferable skills, whether you're making a career pivot and you have no experience, you think you have no experience in that area, or you're just trying to get another job in that area. You really do have the transferable skills, and build on those and demonstrate to a new employer how those transferable skills from other areas will help you move forward. The other thing that I might do is, in addition to reaching out to your network, reach out to some people for an informational interview, those people who are doing the work that you want to do. And the question that you want to ask is, I noticed you're really doing this. This is what I'm looking to do. How did you prepare yourself to take a job like this? People are willing to share that kind of expertise. You're not asking them for a job, you're asking them for their advice. And most people are willing to give it.
And let me jump on that too. So to that point, David, be interested. Be interested in what other people are doing. Don't grovel for a job. Don't grovel for a position. Just find out what they're doing and how they got there. What do they love about it? What don't they like about it? What would they do different about it if they could, right? These are the things that you want to do. Demonstrate an interest. They'll remember you when they hang up with you. They'll remember who you are, and maybe down the road something will come from it. But if you jump on them and you tell them you're looking for work and you need a job, you're going to turn them off.
All right, David, I'm going to give you one final piece of advice, and then if it's okay, we're going to move on. And that is, right now, you personally are not feeling like you have any experience as a data analyst. And I want to address that as well.
Don't.
Well, let me give you a piece of advice. I want you to start thinking about affiliations you have with nonprofits, with community organizations, with people that have data that they could benefit from having their data analyzed, and for you to give them some free work, some pro bono work, if you will. So think, for example, about Toastmasters. And I'm just making this up, and I'm a former Toastmasters myself, member myself, so I know this. What if you were to analyze Toastmasters membership data or event data for the past year and provide them with a summary of, at an average meeting, we have 8.2 attendees. Our membership conversion rate is X%. Our membership renewal rate year over year is X%. Our attrition rate is whatever it was. Like, is there a way that you can get access to the event list, the meeting list for Toastmasters, and do a little bit of an analysis on it and report back? So think about, make yourself a data analyst for your local nonprofit club. And you could even maybe start, I mean, in Toastmasters, you know, what are the goals of Toastmasters? Well, the goals are to help their members, but also to grow their membership and to get good event participation and to get people speaking in the contest and things like that. So addressing the goals, use the data to create some benchmarks for them. Thoughts there, David? You like that? And then would you feel comfortable, David, saying that you have some experience with data analysis after doing that assignment?
Easier said than done, but yes, I will probably.
All right. And I'm just giving you one example of Toastmasters. Joey's like doing that face palm right now. He's like, David, she's throwing you a lifeline and you're like swatting it away. David, I want you to think about how could you get experience with data analysis. You've done some training on data analysis, haven't you? Have you done some online training or certifications or
I've
learning?
had several Udemy courses in data analysis and
Okay.
SQL.
Okay. What about, and I'm just going to brainstorm here. What about doing a LinkedIn post, posting on LinkedIn and saying, I'm looking at moving into a new industry and gaining some experience as a data analyst. I've done some Udemy courses and learned, you know, some techniques like X, Y, and Z, and I'm now looking to put this to work. Who knows of any organization which might benefit from a pro bono data analysis project? Send them my way. You know, I mean, nonprofits are always up for free. It's usually easier to work with an organization that you have an affiliation with than someone that you don't. But I want to, yeah, you could do the asking for a friend, like Kenneth says. You don't have to say it's for me. You could say, I have a friend who's looking to move into data analysis and is looking to gain some experience. You don't have to say he doesn't have experience. He's looking to gain some experience, who has an organization that could benefit from some data analysis. And maybe you just even give an example, maybe you have a membership-based organization and you're looking at your attendance trends over the past. So whatever it is that you think you can provide to them, give them some examples. All right. How's that, David? I'm trying to get David to the point where he's like, yes, I'm going to do that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you, David. All right. I'm going to keep us moving along here. And then next up, I think it was Randy who was next. I'm not sure if it was Melissa, Randy, and Angela, but I think it was Randy, and they go a little bit out of order. We'll go Randy, then we'll go Melissa, and then we'll go Angela. So Randy, do you have a success story or a question for us?
I have a success story. I accepted a job this week.
Yay. So tell us about it, and then any advice for fellow job seekers based on your experience with that.
I was lucky enough to actually be able to choose my opportunity. And to me, looking for culture and the people was a huge part of what I wanted. And I just met these people that seemed amazing. And, you know, you never really know. But based on my, I started filling in the startup and spoken to some additional people at the company, and they seem lovely. And I'm really excited. I start June 12th. And I'm just so thankful. And everybody here has been great. Love the cheerleading, approach to everything. And if anybody, I posted a little different today because I did have the job, so I'm not looking, which is awesome. Happy to help with any experience. I went through Right Management. I've been here. I've done some other things. So anybody wants to connect, wants to practice, do anything. I got a little bit of time before I start. I'm doing some consulting work, but happy to help anybody who has any questions. And everybody had different things, and you're going to laugh at one of the things that sticks out in my mind, the red lipstick.
Oh, who was it that I remember that? We were talking about interviewing. Was it Abby?
Who had said it, and I just laugh every time I had prepped for an interview going, got to get my lipstick.
Can you tell us why? Because there might be people going, what is she talking about? Red lipstick. Can you tell us, what was the advice? What was your takeaway from that?
It was always wear red lipstick because it makes your face kind of stand out. And I got to say, I don't wear makeup that often.
Yeah.
Usually when I go out or anything or for interviews, but lipstick was never that big a deal to me. My face does look better. I don't have any on now. I do think it looks better when you're on screen with the lipstick. I really, it made a difference. And it's, if it makes you feel good, that's really all that matters, because it helps you portray the positive energy. And I think that's what helped me is, being able to show the excitement and the interest that I had. So I'm
That's awesome.
super psyched.
Isn't it funny? It's like, I mean, there's a million pieces of advice that you gained when you were in career search, but I always love hearing like advice for other people, because you never know when that piece of advice might help someone else, in terms of their job search. So thank you for sharing, Randy. We are super happy for you.
Randy, what's your last name? It's not in the thing.
I didn't put Mathios, Mathios.
Do you mind if I drop your URL in chat? I have you on my screen.
Go right ahead. Happy to.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good. And reminder, Randy, and for others too, as you get a job, when you add your new position to your LinkedIn profile, if you want to get the benefit of that notification going out and all of that great visibility and the congratulations messages, I'm like, you should, because it's kind of sucked when you're not working. And then it's like great to get the kudos and the congratulations and stuff. I would. And the other part is it does demonstrate to your new employer that you're going to be a great brand ambassador, like right off the bat, and you're giving them some visibility. What you'll need to do is when you add it to your experience section, let's say, Randy, that you start in June, and I'm just using this hypothetically. If you start in, you start in May, but you don't add it onto your profile in June. When you add it to your profile in June, put June as your start date, because the LinkedIn notification will only go out to say, congratulate Randy on her new position if it's added in the month that it's in, and that's the same current month. So if she started in May and put May as a start date, but didn't post on her profile until June, the notification wouldn't go out. The other thing is at the top of your experience, you click on the little plus button to add it to your profile. And at the very top of that box, there's a notification that says notify your network. And by default, I think it's toggled to off. It might be toggled to on, but just make sure it's toggled to on to green, because that will then push out the notification. It'll go into people's bell icons. It'll say, congratulate Randy on her new position at XYZ company. It'll also push a post out into your homepage feed after you're done adding it into your profile, where you can say, I'm proud to announce I'm being named XYZ at this organization. You can personalize it before you post. But I personally would, because it's kind of a cool thing that we get to do, like tell people that we got a new job. And then it also helps your new organization, gives them some visibility. So definitely do that. By the way, this is recorded in the Zoom. So if you want to watch the playback again, make a note of the URL. Julia, pop the URL into chat right now. And the time is 10:47. So it's about 45 minutes into the presentation where we covered that. Make a note that someday you will do that. And then this is the video where you get those instructions. Thank you so much, Randy. All right, we're going to go next to Melissa and then to Angela. Hey, Melissa, how are you today?
Hey, doing good, thanks. So my question is it ever okay to reapply to a job that you got an automated reject for? Because I've noticed there's one job that I applied for a couple weeks ago before I started joining your calls, and I got an automatic reject, even though I had every qualification for the job. Now I've learned a lot from you and want to apply some of the techniques. Is it okay to reapply, or is that like I'm a loser kind of thing?
Okay, I'm gonna crack my knuckles here, but I'm gonna ask our all-stars who would like to answer the question. Is it okay to apply for a job that you've already gotten a rejection email for? Is it okay to apply again? I'm gonna answer it a little bit differently, but I'm gonna let Joey go first, because I don't want to, what was it? Not rain on your parade, steal his thunder. I don't want to steal his thunder. Because Joey and I are kind of like of one mind sometimes. So Joey, you go first. I'll go last on this one. But any other all-stars, please feel free to raise your hand on this too.
Yeah, Melissa, you got nothing to lose by applying again at all. I mean, you didn't have the job to begin with. So if you get another rejection, so what? But here's what I would suggest. I would try to find somebody within that company who can sponsor you, right? You got to get past this black hole. The ATS, the automated tracking system, doesn't know you from Adam. And you got to find somebody within that company, or find somebody who knows somebody within that company, right? Again, the network. I keep going back to the network. Yep. It's out there. It's available to you. I don't think we make enough use of it. I think we just pretend that it's not going to help us, and just got to be positive. And there's got to be somebody out there who's related to somebody who works at that company who can sponsor you. Thank you, Brenda, for allowing me to speak first.
Linda, what advice do you have for Melissa?
I'm going to build on both of that. And the other thing that I might do, Melissa, is I would go see if you could find the recruiter for that position. Tell them that how excited you are about the company and that you've just reapplied, you've just applied, you've updated your information. You'd love them to take a look. Not saying I'm looking for an interview at this point, but why don't you take a look, just see what you see. And I found that to be a very successful approach. Recruiters actually, once you've applied, are often open to being told that there's somebody out there who's interested enough to reach out to say my material is there.
Great.
All right. So I'm going to piggyback on both of those and I want to remind you, Melissa, that the systems are as good as the technology and everything that works behind the scenes. And there's also human error that happens sometimes too. And I've even had this happen, like someone will send me a LinkedIn invitation and I meant to accept it. And I actually messaged them back and I said, thanks for, sending me an invitation. And I started a rapport with them and I accidentally click on ignore instead of accept. And I didn't even realize it. And we've had messaging back and forth. And this has happened before. The person will message me like a month or so later, and it says the invitation is still pending. On their side, they're not going to get like a denial. They wouldn't say Brenda ignored her. It'll just show as pending, and it says it's still pending. And I'll be like, well, that's weird. And then I go back to their profile, and I see their invite or their connect button is lit up, which means I've ignored it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I made a human error. So you said, you applied to this job, you're qualified for it, and you got a rejection. Did they give you any criteria at all, or was it just,
No, it was, we've decided not to move forward.
Okay.
It's very
so
generic.
let's assume it could have been a technical hiccup or error, or could have been a human error. And jumping on what Joey and Linda both said, don't rely upon the system. That's the black hole of job search. It sucks you in, it breaks you down, all that stuff. So let's now humanize it and let's go and follow the company on LinkedIn. By the way, when we speak about following the company on LinkedIn, are you all aware that LinkedIn has a new feature where you can alert the company that you are interested in positions? Let me just show you a quick example of this. I'm going to go on LinkedIn's company page for LinkedIn to show you an example of this. This is something that's been around for about a month or so. And again, like all the other LinkedIn features, LinkedIn doesn't tell us. It just is kind of there. So when you go on the company page, make sure that you're following the page first, then click on the About tab. And you're going to see a box underneath their description that will say interested in working with us in the future. Click on that I'm interested. Okay, so check these out. I'm not sure yet if this is on all company pages, or my guess is it's probably only on company pages that have positions that have been posted through the jobs tab. I'm not sure either way, but if you see this on a page, you're interested in working for that company in the future, even if there's not a current relevant role, click on I'm interested. I haven't filled this part out yet. Oh, that's it. So I've expressed interest by privately sharing my profile is all that happens at that point. So make sure that you do that. But then while you're on the company page, then the next thing you do is you click on the number of employees, which by the way, it's clickable. And then maybe type in the department that you want to work in. So I'm going to type in marketing, and I'm going to find who else works in the marketing department at that company. I'm going to try to connect with as many of them as I can. That helps to increase my chances that other people will accept the invitations. Step one, I'm going to not mention that I've applied for the position. Step one, I'm going to look at the person's profile. I'm going to find one or two things that we have in common or something that interests me about their profile. In this case, I might say, hi, Annie, we haven't met yet, but I see that we both have experience in marketing leadership. And LinkedIn says that we share two common connections, including Aaron Gallagher. I'm going to name somebody that I know. Let's connect on LinkedIn. After Amy accepts the invitation, thanks, Amy, for accepting my invitation. I see that LinkedIn is hiring for a global marketing director role, and I'm interested in applying. Do you have any insight on the hiring process? I'm not going to say I applied and I got a rejection letter. I'm going to try to get her into the conversation. It's kind of like playing tennis. If I'm throwing a ball over, I'm trying to get them to serve back to me. Okay. So if I throw the ball over and Amy says, yeah, that position is actually reporting on my team, I might say, great. I applied a week back, but I got an automatic rejection, even though it appears I meet all of the criteria. Want to make sure that wasn't a technical or a human error. I'm wondering if I should apply again. And then at that point, Amy might say, send me your resume. We've had some hiccups with the hiring process or whatever. Or she might say, no, if you've been rejected, you know, I mean, she might give you an answer you don't like, Melissa, but at least let's try to warm up our network and build some more connections and get human beings talking to us and looking at us. Does that help you?
Absolutely. Thank you. That's awesome.
All right. Great. Thank you so much. And thanks for being here today. All right. I think we've got time for maybe one or two more. So let's go to Angela next. And then Lisa will be our very last person for today. Uh-oh, Angela, did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I want to pull you up into spotlight view I think the hand just went down. So now I'm having a hard time finding you, but
well, let me put it back up there. I thought I was supposed to take it down once you
Oh,
called
no,
on
you're
me.
fine. I should have, and
There you go.
Christopher's been helping in the background. I'm not sure if he's still here or not, but let me see if I can get this back up. Okay, there we go. Angela, I see you. Okay, awesome. So do you have a success story or a question for us?
I have a success story, but I did ask in the profile if somebody could help me look at my profile on LinkedIn. But I want to share something. I think is more important than even doing that. I can ask next week as well. But I wanted to share that one of the success stories that I've had in terms of linking in with people. One of the things that I do is keep it really simple. And I've gotten about a 50% success rate in doing nothing more than saying, hi, my name is Angela. I'm expanding my LinkedIn profile and would love to connect. Many thanks, Angela. 50% of the people are higher or saying yes. And so I get a very good success rate, really simple. They connect, I follow up the next thing. I said, thanks so much for connecting. Look forward to being a mutual resource throughout our careers. And then I wait a day or two. And then I go in and say, hey, I see that you have a title as a customer success manager. I was wondering if you might share your journey with me into the company and tell me what is your day-to-day responsibility so I know that I'm on the right track in pursuing this title in your org. I have gotten a 50% success rate of people saying yes and saying, yeah, sure, I got 20 minutes. I say 20 minutes. And then once they give me that, I do a post check. I say, hey, we're 20 minutes into the call and I only asked for 20 minutes. I just want to make sure that I honor that and let you go. Oh, no, let's go 10 more minutes. They'll give me to the bottom of the hour because I did that post chat. So now I got a 30-minute with them. And then I say, hey, I want to make sure that I get off the call because, you know, that's what we asked for. And I want to make sure the next time we talk that you take a call. They say, oh, sure. But I want to tell you a success story. I did that to somebody. And what happened was he gave me all of the related titles because I was able to ask him, give me related titles to this function and everything that has to do with account operations for an individual contributor. Because that's what I prefer to do in the healthcare technology space. And so he gave me the titles. That let me know what other titles to consider that I had not considered. And then I said, would you be comfortable sharing your resume that helped you win your job? And he said, sure, I'll send it to you and send me yours. I took his resume, modified mine before I sent it. He sent it to his director of talent acquisition. And on Wednesday, I got an impromptu, unplanned call from the director of talent who said, hey, you talked to Chris and he said, I need to meet you.
That's great. Oh my gosh. There's so many things in that process that you've done. You've gone slow in the introduction to connect. You've built reports slowly. You've asked permission for an interview or for some additional insights. And by the way, I just put a link in chat about an informational interview. If anyone is not familiar with the concept and how it works, I've done a blog on what, and it was the exact process that Angela was asking, like asking for some help and, you know, what made you successful in your role? Would you be willing to share your resume? She's not pushing her resume on them. She's not saying, hire me. She's not like asking for a job. She's not saying, help me find. I mean, she's just really gathering information and information. I think there were so many great things in what you shared in that approach. So thank you, Angela, for sharing all of that with us. We are a little bit short on time. If you'll be on next Friday, I'd love to do a profile review with you. If you want to come back with us next week, if that would be okay.
Me?
Yeah, Angela.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. And in fact, I want to say one more thing. I created a cadence for the things that I just spoke of because I have a sales background. So I have a cadence for each of those talking points. that I'm happy to share. If Brenda, you want to look at it first, I don't know how that works, how you
Yeah,
prefer.
absolutely. And even if I don't know if you feel comfortable blogging about it on LinkedIn, would you feel comfortable putting it publicly or not?
Not blogging.
Okay.
I don't want, yeah, but I'm
Okay.
happy to
But
share
if
it.
you, yeah, if
Once
you're
I
open
land,
to,
I'll be happy to blog it. But
yeah,
right
I
now-
understand. And I totally get that too. And that's why I always like to ask, would you feel comfortable? If
Yeah,
not,
but I'm
yes,
happy to share it with this group for anybody who wants it. I am so happy.
how about
to do
this, Angela? Would you feel comfortable putting it in like a Google Doc and then we could share it with people?
Sure.
Okay, let me do that and then maybe bring that for next week's phone call. I think that would be amazing. That would be awesome. So thank you so much for that.
You're
All
very
right,
welcome.
we're going to finish off with Lisa. We might go a couple minutes over. For those of you who have another appointment to get to, I totally get it. But Lisa, success story or question? What do you have to share with us today?
I kind of have well, it's success and a statement. I've been meeting with Brenda for every once in a while she's looking at my profile and giving me advice. So last week when we met, I kind of went out of my comfort level, which was actually really awesome. Thank you, Brenda. I sent out a resume to a job. It said, here's the hiring manager. So I looked on that profile with Brenda. She showed me how to do that. Looked at mutual connections. So I had a pretty decent mutual connection. So I reached out to her and asked her if she'd be willing to do an introduction or a call. And she said, well, what do you want me to do? And I had her do an introduction to the hiring manager for me. So now I'm at the point where I am actually going to contact the hiring manager and say, this person has introduced me and here's what I'm looking for. And I sent you my resume and all that kind of stuff. So I never would have done that had Brenda not said something. In the hiring manager was listed there. So all I needed to do was go onto the hiring manager and connect with that person. So I just basically did a basic connect. Hi, I'd like to connect. We're both interested in nonprofit and that kind of stuff. And I've been doing that. I did it with maybe 10 people and 6 of them responded to me. So I have to respond back to them after this, but that's really cool because my network is really not nonprofit and what I want to do. So I'm trying to build it that way now. So it's kind of cool that it's working out. I feel good.
That's awesome. You're a great student too, and you do your homework and we come on and I'm like, I'm like, where are we at? And I'm like, okay, where do we need to go next? We're building upon different strategies and techniques in each of the sessions as well. By the way, for anyone who's on the call, I am offering still that special rate. I put the link inside chat. You do need to be on the call. So if someone's watching this on YouTube and they're like, how do I get on? You got to come on the call because the only people who get that special rate are people that are in my VIP email list community, as well as the job seekers. So it's a delay to hear. And I feel like, Lisa, you're going to get something. It's just a matter of time and opportunity. And, we're definitely trying different techniques with you that are going to help you to get there. So I'm delighted. And thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to start to wrap us up here for today. And a couple of things that were happening in the background, and I'm multitasking. So if you see me looking off to the side, it's not because I'm ignoring you. I'm just trying to multitask in here. I did get an email from one person saying they couldn't get on the Zoom link. The call wasn't working. Do you all remember what I said? What to do when that happens? Go to the VIP created on LinkedIn. Oh, I want to remind everyone to mute themselves. Let me just do a quick mute all. Okay. Somebody was laughing in the background. I don't know what was happening, but that's okay. It happens. I've had it happen to me before. Don't worry if it was you. I don't want you to feel embarrassed. So I want to remind you, if you are ever having difficulty getting inside the Friday VIP calls, after we start, there's a good likelihood I'm not going to check my email or LinkedIn messages at all. Sometimes I have a chance to do so. So what I want you to do is I want you to go and look up our group on LinkedIn. It is called VIP Job Seeker Resources. By the way, this is a private unlisted group. I'm just going to say join our LinkedIn group in chat right now. You cannot get the URL unless I share it with you. You can't search for it. If you're not a member yet. If you are a member, you'll be able to find it and search. But if you're not a member, you've got to visit the link I just put in chat. When you go there, there's a little button that will say request to join. And as soon as you click on request to join, I will get like I'll look at this about once or twice a week and I'll admit new people into the group. So we just had 4 more people request to join the group. And this is kind of like the flagpole outside the house that we use when there's an emergency or a fire. Remember back when we were in grade school and we were taught to do fire drills and tornado drills, and gosh, now they do lockdown drills. How scary is that? But these are the things that we do to keep ourselves safe and to protect ourselves, right? So this is kind of like the flagpole that we all go to meet at in the case of an emergency, right? So go to the LinkedIn group if you are ever having difficulties getting inside the call. If you can't find resources, maybe we talked about an event or a link and you can't find it in the YouTube, go to the group and just post inside the group and say, hey, I can't get into the Friday VIP call. I want to let you know that every week when we start our Friday VIP call, one of my interns is on with us. It's either Julia or Paige. And Julia or Paige will post and will say, here's the Zoom link. So if you can't get on, you can get in here. Like, and she posted it as soon as we opened the Zoom this morning. So I want to remind you about that. There was another message that someone sent me, and now I am totally blanking because I am also experience rich in the brain. And sometimes my memory is not as good. So if I can think about it before we wrap, I will remind you about that. But in the meantime, if you ever do have any questions, I want to direct you to our private unlisted group. I want to remind everyone to come on out and join our VIP, our LinkedIn Live-a-thon for Experience Rich Job Seekers next Thursday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Later on this afternoon, I will be sending out an email to everyone who's on my VIP email list to give you the link to join. The plan right now is it will be broadcast live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Sometimes I get a little Facebook hiccup. So I would say go to YouTube or LinkedIn if you want to watch the event. As attendees, I remembered what it was. As attendees, you will be watching the event. Okay. So it's not going to be video on like we're doing here inside Zoom. It's just going to be you're watching the event. You can go into chat. You can introduce yourself. I am trying to invite both job seekers, but I'm also inviting recruiters and people who are hiring managers. So anytime I see somebody in my network who's a recruiter, I'm inviting them to the event. Okay. Part of the reason I'm mentioning that is in between the speakers. So every 20 to 25 minutes, we'll have a new speaker and then we have a segue. I'm going to bring up a few people who are VIP job seekers from this group onto the call with us on screen, on video, to do a 15 to 20 second introduction of yourself. So the same thing we did at the beginning of the call where you came on screen and you said, hi, this is Brenda Meller. I'm looking for a marketing director position in Metro Detroit. You're going to get that chance to be in the LinkedIn Live-a-thon as well. Okay. You never know where the future may lead. And maybe it won't be a recruiter or a hiring manager who sees that intro, but it might be another job seeker who sees it. And they say, I just heard about a marketing director position in Southfield, and they could refer an opportunity to you. So you do need to be on during the call. I will make some reminders and let you know if you're interested. What I'll do is I'll ask you to go to the VIP job seeker group during the LinkedIn Live-a-thon, and I'll pull your names from there. And then I'll private message you the StreamYard link to join. Okay, so that's how that'll work. I'll remind you all about that the day of the event. If you're interested, just be camera ready and I'll give you instructions on how to come into the room. Okay, super excited about that event. I want to thank the All-Stars so much for helping us today. I think a few of them have already dropped off, but again, Kenneth, Diana, oh gosh, I'm blanking on names right now. Sue, Joey, who else am I forgetting? There were others that were helping us. I'm blanking. I'm sorry. Linda, thank you for waving your hand. I'm like, who else am I remembering and forgetting on here? But I want to thank all of you for helping to run things behind the scenes and for allowing me patience when my memory is not as good as it sometimes is. And I want to thank all of you from the VIP job seeking community for joining us today. I hope that you found some great inspiration in the call. I hope that you've made some new connections. By the way, please download the chat before you leave. That way you can follow up and connect with individuals if you didn't get a chance to do so. And all of those great links and resources are inside the chat. What happens is when you go to the chat in the very bottom where it says to everyone, you're going to click on, there's like 3 little dots. And when you click on the 3 little dots, you'll see an option that will save chat. When you click on save chat, it'll save it to your downloads folder. Mine, it says show folder. So you can click on that right away and see where it's at. That way you can access the chat later on to grab that. All right. With that said, I want to thank all of you for attending, and I'll just give one last shout out to all of you. Thank you to Sandip, Diana, Joan, Joey, Kenneth, Linda, Scott, Al, Alicia, Angela, David, Dean, Debbie, Don, Emily, G, Emily S, Esmeralda, Fiona, Julia. Thank you again for your help in the background. Jeff, Joan, John, Jonathan, Katie, Kevin, Lisa, Melissa, Natasha, Owner, Rob, Scott, Simeon, Tina, Twana, VF, VH, Vic the Pie Man, and Wendy B. Thank you for joining today, my friends. Again, my name is Brenda Meller. I help job seekers get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie. You are welcome to join us every Friday here from 10 to 11 a.m. If you ever see someone in career transition posting about it on LinkedIn, just tag me and I will reply back and include the link for them to join. With that said, I'm going to stop the recording right now. I'm going to keep the chat open for just a few minutes if you want to download, and then I will be ending our Zoom call. Have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing all of you again next Friday. Take care, my friends. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, guys.